Welcome, everyone. And I have something very, very special for you all today. I had this idea of inviting my dearest client and friend, Anne Kursinski, to talk to us today about some of her amazing experiences. Anne is a 5-time Olympic equestrian jumper with 2 team silver medals, I believe. And I have a list of, I could go on and on about your amazing accomplishments. You won the Female Equestrian Athlete of the Year at one time, and several gold medals all around Pan American Games, on and on and on. You were even voted one of the most, famous, popular, wonderful equestrians in the whole US, or so. Yeah, just fabulous, fabulous person and athlete, but mostly one of my most amazing clients. We've worked together for, I think, over 11, 12 years, maybe, very closely in a range of ways. We've worked, you've been my Reiki student. Once you saw me do some Reiki on a lame horse, you said, "Oh my God, you can teach that." And that began the beautiful dance. And so you took level 1 and level 2 Reiki energy healing with me, and you use that all the time on your horses and yourself, and with me. And also you've done a lot of intuitive mentoring with me to help with manifesting issues, all sorts, all life issues. We pretty much run the gamut. Issues with yourself, the horse, the business, the other people that you're involved with. All of it, all the things that I love to do with you. But today I really wanted to focus in on, because I'm about to teach for the first time in 7 years, Awakening to Animal Communication. It's a live online course, getting people's feet in the water with what this possibility can be. So I thought, who better to tell them what's possible than you, with all of our amazing experiences. So would you like to share, I guess, just you want to start with just some of the ways that animal communication or that work has helped you and your horses?
Yes, well, thank you so much for asking me to be here, because I love sharing what's happened in my life, and of course the work what we've done together. You've been a big part of my team, having this not just, as you say, the animal communication, but learning Reiki and being able to use Reiki, and very much so the intuitive training, really teaching kind of to me to listen to my gut and to listen to my intuition and listen to a lot of that guidance that I think growing up I was taught almost not to. So you've been wonderful to bring that out way more. And then of course the same with the animal communication to it's been amazing. Even before you, actually, I had another mentor.
Yes, you did.
Sandler, who really helped me quite a lot. She's now retired, but even you guys, I lapsed over with both of you. And that always having the love for the horse, for sure, that ever has always been, before Olympic medals and things, the love for the horse has always been foremost in my riding, and even in business, more the horse always comes first than the student and people. And this animal communication really helped with that. And some of that, again, trusting my own gut feelings, for sure. And I could go on and on about all the experiences with it. A couple of initial ones, one with my Olympic horse, with Eros, and that was maybe my first introduction into it. And that was with this Marlene, and at the Meadowlands, they had the National Horse Show at the Meadowlands, and Eros was young. We hadn't gone to the Olympics or anything yet with that horse. And oh my gosh, he kind of crashed this night at the horse show. I mean, this really bizarre, and my coach couldn't figure out, I couldn't figure out what happened. And a friend of mine said, "Oh, you've got to talk to this animal communicator." And oh my God. And bingo, right away, she said he had a migraine, which I thought was so wonderful.
I actually just saw that. You never told me this story, but I saw like a flash of light, like the migraine.
Yes. And that day, not during the competition, it wasn't me, it was the horse. I had a migraine. I had this vision thing So later, of course, when I'm talking to this first animal communicator, it was like, no kidding. This is really like woo woo. Oh. And you've got to go see a chiropractor. And honestly, I don't think, it's a long time ago. I don't think I'd been to a horse chiropractor. And now, of course, I use animal chiropractors and everything. And sure enough, and she said, his jaw is out and this rib, and I think he had TMJ, and I'm sure go to the chiropractor who doesn't know about the animal communicator. All of these things, bing, 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 all exactly what she had said. And it was like, wow, that's so amazing. And that was probably my first introduction. So myself using it for some things like that, definitely some also, so some lameness things when I've had some vets that are questioning and you're not exactly sure what's going on. I had another horse, again, this one was before you. Indeed, a lovely stallion. Oh gosh, he went to Aachen. He was like on the list to maybe go to the Olympics at one point. Well, he started refusing. He started stopping. And I love this horse. I mean, we went to Aachen, he jumped big jumps. And the vets kind of couldn't figure it out. Honestly, I went to a couple of vets and finally, and this was Marlene, she said he has a herniated testicle. No kidding. He had a herniated testicle. We castrated him and he was all back to normal. He was a great horse again. And with having some vets, in the end, when I suggested it, and they found it, but they didn't find it beforehand. And some experiences like that. But again, trusting my gut for there is something else. I've always been curious. That's part of me. Why things happen, whether it's horse training or all of that, sports psychology, questioning, how can I be better? What more can I do? And so to really get inside of the horses. And then with you, that we had a wonderful, our first big experience night with the Bay Mare in Wellington, a source of mine, and questioning, would she be the right one? And actually, so share a little bit your perspective of with that mare, because that was a fabulous experience.
Oh, I know the one you're mentioning. So first you called me about the client had 2 horses in mind. And so you asked me to check in with the horses because it was a young rider. And it's something I love doing. It's, finding out what their intention is and what their preference is. And of course, the older, more famous one was just kind of like blasé, but this younger mare was so like, give me that young rider. I'll totally take care of her. I'll protect her. And so we talked about that, and they ended up following your advice because that was your feeling as well. You already felt that, but you maybe didn't have all the words. So she was really gung-ho for that relationship. And I think the first time out, she won a Grand Prix. I mean, it was pretty amazing. But I got to meet her after working through all the sales issues and all of that. I was at your barn and I got to meet her, and we were catching up. I don't think she recognized me at first. I was trying to tell her, oh, I'm the one who, made sure that you got picked. I helped you express yourself that you really wanted to work with a really young rider. And anyway, she was sort of chewing on that. And you were telling me about her progress. You had just gotten her and you were working her and she was jumping fine, but on the flat, she was really kind of, I think you said what I would have said, the same thing. She's fighting me on the flat. It's like a power, how we usually feel like, because they're so huge. It's a power struggle, right? And she was like, no, that's not what's going on. And so I said, wait a minute, Anne. And what I love about you is it is totally true what you said about the love of the horse. You always want to know the perception. You always want to know how they're feeling and thinking, and you always put that first. And that's why it's so amazing to work with you, because whatever I do end up sharing with you, you put into action. I mean, you check on it if it's really wackadoodle, but you put, which has never been, but you would, I trust you, but you put these things in action. So I said, wait a minute, she has something else to say. And as it turned out, she was describing with such great, unbelievable caring how on the flat you were making her do all these bends and twists. You were putting her through that beautiful thing that you do on the flat. You get them really, really fit. And she was fussing because she had this idea that you were trying to take over her role and messing up her feet and stuff. And she took really seriously that she had this young girl to get around these huge jumps, and it was all on her. And so it was this whole different perspective of her taking care of the rider. And she was fighting with you because she felt like you were possibly interfering with her balance, or she didn't understand the training that you were putting her through. So this is where it got really cool, you remember. So I said, well, you were totally listening and hearing her side of things. And so I said, well, let's negotiate now. This isn't the end of the story. That's her perception. But here you are, the 5-time Olympic, rider and trainer. And she has some things to learn from you as well. So I presented who you were. I said, do you have any clue who's in front of you here and who's trying to teach you? And so I shared both perspectives, and she took in who you were as well and what your goals were as you took in her goals. And of course you met there, you both had the same goals ultimately. So I said, can we negotiate a little, and that on the flat, when it's your time to bend and stretch and do these things you're uncomfortable with, can you trust Anne to be your new guide and trainer? That she is totally wanting you to be at your top level performance. So you are safe and you can get around with that girl safely. And this is what happened next. I said, can you work with Anne? And she literally, there were 5 people around us, right? And she turned her head toward you. She could have picked anybody. And she nuzzled your hand.
Yes, it was amazing. Amazing.
And we all just went, it was like a Mr. Ed moment, right?
Exactly.
And she nodded. She was nodding. Yeah, she was nodding yes, and then touching you. And I couldn't believe that she was nodding so dramatically. Yes, I thought this is extraordinary. So I asked her to do it again, just to make sure that we were all getting this, and I said, this is so amazing. Are you truly saying yes, that you'll work with Anne now? And she did it a second time. And at that point, I think we all burst into tears.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. You kind of had to be there for you guys watching, but to really have that reaction and automatic, and the mare really totally did get it. She did, and that we were all listening to her. I got her side of the story also, and that we really could work together. And but at a different level, I guess that's what to get so much of working with Kumari is the confirmation, the affirmation that that I am on the right track, or again, questioning, why is this mare being a little bit difficult? And not that she was horrible, but then it totally made sense. So much of the animal communication is getting another perspective, and maybe it's something that you already kind of know, or you're going to be okay, and then wow, yeah, okay, I can be with that. And I think even for some of my students, I have students that I encourage to talk to the animal communicator. Some professionals don't want that because, oh God, what are they going to stir up? But I think to get a deeper connection with your horses, also myself as a rider and trainer, but also that deeper connection, absolutely, with the horses. I had another horse that I worked with Kumari with that didn't want to go out to the ring, and had just come over from Germany, and he was a big, strong horse, and I hoped he'd go to the Grand Prix, which he has done, and qualified for the World Cup finals and things later. But when he first came, and this not wanting to go out to the ring, it was also in Wellington, and being nappy and awful, and kind of rearing and spinning, and oh my God, what did I get, and what's going on, and it was pretty amazing, because part of what I got was this sort of, when I really stopped being overly whip him and spur him and run him out to the ring, and that he doesn't get hurt or I don't get hurt or anything, but sort of that same thing. Why are you doing this? What's going on? And then I even got this feeling of sort of sadness. It was pretty wild. I got a sad and emotional, and I thought, and I really don't think this is me. I've worked with Kumari enough and done some of this work enough, but this really overwhelming sadness feeling, and thought, oh my God, was kind of almost teary, and it wasn't like I was afraid. It wasn't an afraid thing. It was a sadness, and I really was like, what is that? So I called Kumari and said, what, this horse I just bought? what is this? And you in the end, talking to him, that was amazing also to get what, and then it made perfect sense. Once she described it, it made perfect sense to me. So tell your side of that.
Oh, we have a fly here trying to communicate, but it's not his turn. Go figure. So you picked up immediately the exact first thing before I even got on the phone with you. He told me I got the homesickness, and you said, I think I actually felt him. And it was this overwhelming feeling of sadness and homesickness. And I was like, yes, she's getting it totally. Yeah. So you have been really amazing at feeling things in your body and trusting that as well. So what he continued to share with me was in his mind, he had been to shows before, away shows as we call them, and he had traveled. And it was about the 2-week mark at that point that he'd been in the US. And he was ready to go. He was like, show should be over. I'm done. He didn't realize he was here permanently, and he wanted to go back. And he had a really good relationship with a boy that rode him and raised him there. And so he was missing his boy, and we talked about that. And again, I was able to share with him who you are, the opportunity he had here that he didn't have in Germany, to go to the highest levels of the Grand Prix circuit. And he was in it, he was like, I'm in. I asked for his agreement again to say, is this, after I told him who you were and how amazing you were and how much you would do with him and take care of him and listen to him. And oh, by the way, Anne's horses all get acupuncture and chiropractor and massage, we all want to be Anne's horse. And he literally said yes at that moment. He made a decision and he started working with you differently. I mean, he still had a few spookies at the ring, but he didn't kick up that huge fuss anymore.
Yeah, that was amazing hearing his side of it through you. That in the end, yes, it did make perfect sense. There was a young boy that he had been ridden and taken care of a lot. It was actually a groom, and exactly what you said, he normally would go to a show for a week or two and then go back to his farm in Germany. And he had no idea that he wasn't just going back to Germany, his farm in Germany. He was staying, and all of that makes such sense. And then from the intuitive work with you of really feeling his sadness and, as you say, homesickness. I did get that. You're absolutely right. I remember sitting on him on the fence out there, and I sort of got this. Isn't that weird? Homesick. I'm getting homesick. And then when you said it, it made perfect sense. So those kinds of, as far as the animal communication, the training that you again, for sure, helping the horses and whether it's soundness or emotional, those kinds of things. But then as a rider, I think rider trainer, that you start to listen to yourself and really can trust your intuition that way. And I know lots of other top riders and some Olympians and things, and whether they say it out loud or not, but I know many of them have gone to animal communicators, especially for some weird problems, whether it's soundness or, again, a spooky thing or emotional or behavioral kind of issues. So to me, it's another great part of my team. Kumari is a wonderful part of my team, and another piece to the puzzle. And I've even had some vets, Dr. Steele. I love Dr. Steele. He was great. And he'd say, what did Marlene say? I mean, he really, sometimes when there was really pretty open, and, Doc was a top vet into his 90s, I think. And it was pretty cute that he would be such a great horseman and vet to be, again, why not see what other perspective. And so often it really is something that you do kind of know or you are aware of. But again, it's believing it, really trusting it and believing it. And really coming from the horse's point of view, I think, is fascinating.
It is. They don't always see things the way we think. And opening that door is just an amazing journey for me as well. But I wanted to give you kudos, because the truth is you were already listening, you were already intuitive. And I think our journey has just been really to open that door super wide and get you to trust it. I'm not the kind of person who tells people what to do or, the psychic future. I actually, one of my gifts, I believe, is empowering, and you love to be empowered, empowering everyone to do that for themselves, to start trusting what they are getting. And I do have a feeling there are a lot of riders and vets. I work with some vets. It's my dream team when I get the vet and the, everybody on the team is wonderful. But I think a lot of people are sensing things. They just don't have a way to claim it, you know?
Like, yeah. And the
And
empower.
you were, when I met you, you were already sensing into things in your body and in your heart space that were coming from the horse or from the rider. And you were starting to wonder, you know, how is that happening? What's happening? And I just gave you more of a structure and support and validation to open that door for you. And now I have to say you're flying with it.
Well, thank you, thank you. But, and for sure that, you know, being validated, as you say, and empowering, I think that that's so important for sure. And people are more open to it today, I think, than they were, you know, years ago, literally. But even having sometimes a pain in my body, things like that, or the migraine, like Arrows had really a pain in my, and now today being able to say, I really think it's that horse, and you know, my left knee, I think it's his left stifle. I know that sounds crazy maybe to some of you, but I have to say, you know, 90% of the time, my body's pretty right if I listen to it. And that's been from Kumari helping me with that over the years to really believe that. And then even me trying to share it with other riders and other people that, and empowering. And it's, I love Kumari's work because she's not a fortune teller. She's not that type. I want to say, you know, she teaches you, you gotta get it. The question she asks, it's a real, it's a teaching, not just you call some, you know, you can call it psychic and they might tell you something, but I have to say, I love Kumari's work because of the empowering, as she says, but the teaching part of it, asking questions, getting the feedback, so that you can learn really about this art, this, how to talk to the animals and listen and even hear them, all of that, along with the Reiki and the intuition that you it's all part of it. It's all this amazing.
Yeah.
So I recommend it to everybody. And I do here in my farm and things, because to make not only a better horsewoman and horsewoman, but I think a human being and just that it's a deeper understanding and awareness. And so I'm very, very thankful for all the work I've gotten to do with Kumari and my animals as teachers as well. They're amazing teachers. All of them.
Teachers. Yeah. Thank you. My sister, who's an equine vet that you know, she said the same thing. I talked to her and she said, you know, this has helped me not just as a vet, but it's helped me be a better human being. So I love that. And it's totally true, because as we open up those closed doors that the animals are, they haven't shut down the way we have. Most of them are, you know, they're extra, what we call extraordinary senses. You know, that's how they survive in the wild. That's how they navigate their world. They don't block that out like we were taught. And so when they find that we're open to receiving the signals on all the levels, the energy and the thoughts and the feelings, and we're open to that, I just find the relationship, you've had amazing relationship depth with the horses. It just keeps going deeper, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That when you're riding them or competing them, or now today, not, you know, I still compete a bit, but training the younger horses, and I really do believe a lot of my success that it's on a deeper level than maybe some. Sounds kind of kooky maybe, but I really do believe that. That's always been as I say, the love of the horse, but it's on this deeper understanding and knowing and getting their perspective. And Kumari helped me so much with that. To know that it's crazy. There is really this other connection. So it's and when amazing.
They feel that, right? When they feel that, I mean, part of what I do is just communicate that they know who you are and they feel who you are, and they totally feel blessed to work with you, just as I do. So thank you. Sharing this work with you has been phenomenal for me and for all the horses and people we've touched. All your students I know are getting touched by it. And I just wanted to let people know from your words and your perspective, how this work can open things up in such a way that can result in amazing results on all levels. Just every kind of benefit that you can think of is possible. But if we think it's too out there and too crazy in our way of thinking, then we may not take a leap. You know, I think we all at some point had to take that leap to experience something, the truth of something for ourselves versus what's being told us is true. And I thank you for having the courage to take that leap and to speak about it. A lot of people are in hiding about it, but you're willing to share all the things that you do for your horses and your betterment for the whole equine world, I think, actually. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Any final comments you want to share before we?
No, I think
Sign
that
off?
everybody, be open to it, because it really has opened a lot of things for me through my career. I mean, as you said, we've been doing it for a long time, and I think it does take it, your riding, your horsemanship, your care, whatever it is that you're doing, to a whole other level. It really can be, and to embrace it, and yeah, get a good taste of it, because for you and your horses, it's amazing. It's so I get on the journey, go for it, and is brave, and I think you'll feel that it's helped you and your animals.
Thank you so much for your time and all of your love for the horses. I just I feel all your successes. I feel like I can share them because of the deep work we've done. I know that it's a big part of my joy in this work as well. So thank you, and have a great rest of the day. All right.
You too.